It was a Terra happy hour, and then I met Dongpan there. They were going to the moon at that time. But it was in that happy hour that I started meeting the brilliant minds behind all these crypto projects. And I was like a fangirl. I remember texting my journey to wealth girls, and like, oh my god, guys, we're meeting the founder of Terra, the founder of Harmony, and like Cosmos. But the thing about that space was everyone was so inclusive, everyone was so intelligent and generous, and they never made me feel stupid. Like I was just asking questions and they would answer my questions. So the thing about Web3 is everyone is very passionate about their project. So if you feel like you're here and it's intimidating, which is what I felt too, my friend told me just ask them what their project is about. And they're gonna tell you, and they're gonna teach you, just like storage, right? So it was then that I met Harmony, and Harmony team, they were amazing. I started asking them questions like, so I remember I was at this dinner table with the founder of Harmony, the founder of Boba, the founder of Women in Blockchain, I think, and I was just this one person who's like new in the space, and I'm like, what's the difference between layer 1 and 2? But no one laughed at me. They would just explain it, and actually said, that's a very good question. So what I learned from that is, if you don't know a lot about the space, think about the quality of your question, right? So it's not about the answers, but it's about the quality of your questions in the space. And that actually made me stood out because they realized this girl actually wants to learn about the space. And the next thing you know, I talked about it earlier today. I wrote the book of Harmony, and we were very lucky to bring 50 women scholars to East Denver, and then we launched Blue Down. That's what I'm doing full time now.
Also, don't know if your mic actually was on this time. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I like scare myself too when, like, I'm already loud. I don't need to like hear myself so loud in my ear. Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourself. And one of the things, well, I know this Anne and Chantel from actually like meeting you and watching you at conferences. You two are like networking queens. And then Christina, what you and Amy were both saying really about opportunities and like making your own opportunities, asking questions, putting yourself out there. That's one of the things I've really noticed a lot in the Web3 space, and I was talking about this while we were eating pizza, is we really have to have more of like an entrepreneurial mindset in Web3. You don't need to be an entrepreneur, because like entrepreneurial is just like a spirit. It's really about putting yourself out there, asking questions, going after what you want, getting yourself in the room, asking yourself like, where are there opportunities, what problems can I solve? And it's a really interesting kind of energy. And Amy, you were saying how a lot of people think that they have security with a traditional job, but what a lot of people experience through COVID is that that's not true at all. A lot of people lost their jobs, or a lot of people realized the security is not worth the heartburn I get from my day-to-day job. And that's one of the things that people are fearful of about getting into crypto or Web3, is they feel like it's very insecure. Like it's all over the place, and obviously every headline is all about like doomsday crypto. And so you really do have to recognize, I feel like in this space, that there is no such thing as job security. The only really thing you can do to create security is actually like a self-reliance and networking and putting yourself out there and creating opportunities. And so my question for all of you would be, what do you feel like, whether or not you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur, you all have entrepreneurial essence to you, what entrepreneurial essence do you really feel has actually led to you being able to not just network in this space, but actually land funding, get jobs, make connections that have allowed you to make those steps in the space?
An excellent question. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 6. I used to sell drawings in my classes, so the spirit is definitely strong. But I will say that, especially in this male-dominated, well, I don't even like to say male-dominated, because to say dominated means that we're suppressed. So I don't want to use that terminology. But in a space where there are very many men, I think to stand out as an entrepreneur is definitely assertiveness and just genuine faith and confidence in the space that you take up, your own intelligence and what you have to offer and what you have to contribute and bring. Because if you're confident in that, then no one can question that, right? Like if you allow a man to diminish you, then and you don't present. How do I say this? It's like if you present yourself as uncertain, then that is how you will be received. So no matter where you are at or what you're doing, to have confidence in that and to know that your contribution, your vision, your creativity is extremely valid, and just allow yourself to be inspired and motivated by what other people are doing. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that for me, it's about being unapologetically myself, so that I'm able to build very genuine connections. I feel like it's very hard, especially when you feel like you don't know enough. You feel like, oh, like, yeah, I'm gonna ask some stupid questions or something. But if you are just yourself and you're not really worried about like what the other person is really thinking, and you just really want the answer, it really does help when you're trying to get things from people. So even if, when it comes to like funding or like just trying to get inside some sort of conversation or get inside the room, just be yourself and don't really worry, like don't get in your head and self-edit, because I think that's something that we as women do a lot. Just be yourself and try and form a genuine connection with the person that you're talking to, because you never know the ways in which you can help them and they can help you.
I think growing up, like I never considered myself to be an entrepreneur. My ultimate dream when I was in college was to work in corporate America until I retired. Obviously, that's like not happening, but that was my dream. And I think like being curious is what led me to this space. And what I really appreciate about people around me, even if they're the smartest people, even if they're like self-made millionaires at the age of like 24, which is like oddly possible. And what I like about them is that if they don't know something, they'll ask. And so it's the curiosity and leaning into like, okay, well, I'm not afraid to know like nothing or know something in the space. So I think my curiosity led me there, and it led me to like other curious friends, and so we're able to like bounce ideas off each other without saying like, hey, like that sounds dumb. Like, it's just much easier that way.
I agree with what you guys talk about, being yourself, being curious, asking questions. A lot of times when we meet someone, we're so quick to just talk and we're not really listening. And if you want to create genuine connection, it is really being yourself, but it's really, I want to know who's that person behind that face. I want to know what's in that heart. I want to know what you care about. And that's how you build genuine connections. And then when you hear them, they also will have a similar response to you. What you give is what you receive, and now they want to know what are you up to in this world. And then it comes from that genuine connection that they want to help you. When it comes to entrepreneurship and funding, I truly believe that the only limits in life are the ones you put on yourself. So I have met a lot of multimillionaires, even billionaires, and they're very successful, and I see one thing in common across the board, which is they don't doubt themselves. It doesn't even exist in their head. If they want to do something, that's what they call manifesting, right? You think about it, and then you just do it. There is no pause between thinking and doing, you just do. And then if you fail, that's part of life. Then you pivot, and you be resilient. And you hit an obstacle, then you ask, what can I do next? What can I do different? But you don't stop, and you be resilient. And I think that is what I've realized is the success of entrepreneurship.
Okay, yeah, it's working again. Thank you. Those were all really, really awesome answers. And so I want to get to like asking questions and things like that really came up. But Amy, you were just talking about failure as being part of the process. And one of the analogies I always love is who here has ever like played basketball or watched basketball? Everyone understands the basics of basketball. So like, let's say you walk on the court, I pass you the ball, and you shoot and you miss. Did you fail, or did you just like miss the shot? And the reality is in that moment, you like missed the shot. The only way you fail is if you actually walk off the court and never pick up a basketball ever again. And in reality, even if your team loses the game, you didn't fail, you just lost a game in a reoccurring season where there's more games. If you don't win this season, you didn't fail. You're just like constantly working and innovating to get better. And it's the same thing really, I think, in the Web3 space and with careers and what we're doing. It's really recognizing that failure is only a failure if it's like the last thing you do. Otherwise, it's just simply a part of the process that's giving us really, really good feedback on like what's working and what's not working and what is working. And so everyone kind of brought up this idea of questions. And so I'm curious, like what was could be a question or just like a curiosity that you had, but that led to like a really great opportunity? Yeah, okay, we'll skip answer. Skip answer now. You're up, Chantel. You already told me about like 20 things you've done this week, so.
Yeah, I guess for me, so I've only really been in the space since February, and I feel like, I feel kind of old, but like it's still very like new. But I would, in Denver, like I asked a question about DAOs, and I think it was really basic. But I was at the Her DAO house, and it was like a house for women to feel safe and have really like intimate conversations with like founders and people that were building things. And I just remember there were like so many men there, and I was just like, there is no way that we're gonna have this house for women, and then women are not gonna be in these conversations. So I remember like they were talking about really technical things. They were all developers, and I'm not a developer. And I just asked this like really, really basic question about DAOs. And now I have like the best mentor ever who's really helping like guide me through this space and provide me with opportunities and like kind of directing me like where to go. So yeah, that's why I'm like, don't be afraid to ask like really, really basic questions, because you never know what's